All right, G'day, hi, welcome. So I got to empty all those out, bags, and then the floor scrubber. That it's basically it's not a vacuum. It's like a basically a powered mop, I guess. And I gotta get that settled out today. Operation Pine Sol going. Lysol Pine Sol. That was the like the ultimate operation. Lysol. Got to get this to stay. So just went to the store. I was talking to the lady at the store and asked her about the wicks for the. She says she has a hard time getting the fuel. These are some like perhaps like God knows how old that fuel is, 2012 or so. This little guy here, I don't know if I can get the wick to come up. It's not moving, so I gotta. But these are great preps if you're unless you break it. Oh, okay, like this. And there. Oh, we're back in business. The round wicks. Oops. I don't think that was supposed to happen. Okay, the round wicks. The trick with these guys is they get soot right at the top of them. I don't know if I'll show you better on another angle. And you just got to clean them. And where's my later? Anyway, and then these you clean these so that they don't get sooty. But isn't that cute? Look at that, eh? I love the light from these things. Guys, when I get it all set up in here, I'm not procrastinating, but I'm gonna be. Out of all the jobs, think of all the jobs I got to do on this property, right? And the worst job I'm gonna probably have to do on this property is all those damn dishes. It's like every dish in the house. I already got a head start on it, but I think I'm gonna really focus on in here today. But like lanterns like that, when I was growing up, we used a lot of lanterns like that, and there's such a charm to them, but they are dangerous. You know you don't want to knock them over. So I have a fire extinguisher there. That fire extinguisher is probably older than me, but it still has a charge. I never throw. I'm not one of those people. Oh, replace your fire extinguisher. You keep the old ones too. You know, like they might still work. You know, well enough. But I want to get a. I think I have two fire extinguishers up there, but I'm probably gonna have to get fire extinguishers. So I'm gonna have to start making lists of stuff to have in the home. Um, my prepping stuff, I don't show that stuff anymore. I used to on my old channel, but when one thing yeah, it sucks that I lost my old channel back in 2019. But a lot of stuff is gone with that too. So like people don't know what I have. Like people, oftentimes I'll get in my comments, Reggie, you should be buying preps instead of guitars and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, but you don't have to worry about that stuff. But those are great preps. Like those are like if you had to live without power for like 6, 8 months, those things are your friend. The hardest thing is getting the fuel, but considering the last time I used one of these, my mom was still alive, and that's 2014. Power went out, and we lit up a couple of the ones up home. I'm gonna have to double check to make sure they're, maybe the wicks just fell down like on these ones. And there's a bit of a maintenance to them. There's a bit of there's do's and don'ts. You don't have them up too high. You'll get a lot of soot. You do have to have, it's a burning thing, so you do want to have ventilation coming in. You know what I mean. Even in the wintertime, you want to crack a window a little bit for a little bit, just to refill the place up with fresh air. Because what happens with candles, you'd be surprised how fast a candle can burn up the air in the room. It won't burn it all up, but it will lower the pressure in the room. It will do that. Why? It's a flame, right? Flames suck up oxygen. Bigger the flame, the more oxygen you're going to suck up. A wood stove's a little different because a wood stove usually has a good draft that sucks in the cold air from somewhere else, right? And such. So with these, I can use them for light while I'm making my videos and stuff like that. It's going to set a nice atmosphere for sure. I was looking at candle holders and stuff. I have a couple of candle holders around here. I'm one of those people, like, I never use candles a lot, but I like them, you know. But I did buy one of those survival candles. Like it was like a 350-hour candle. I think it was a cake, like a birthday cake. But there's a problem with those is that the wicks will burn in so much, and then you get like a hole, and you light it for like 5 minutes, and it just melts into itself. So you need a candle warmer underneath to keep it burning level. But I have another lantern that I'll show you. I've shown it on. I don't know if I showed it on this. I know I showed it on this channel a couple of years back. And had discussions on it, but the videos never took traction. But it's a candle lantern. They're about $50-$60, and you have 3 spring-loaded candles in it. There's like a little tube, aluminum tube. The candle goes in, loads in it, and then there's like a spring on the bottom, and it keeps the candle coming to the top. And you get about 3 or 4 hours. I can't remember. It depends on the candles that you use. But I use those to make the templates because the survival candles are like $7 for 3. That's not, no. You're not going to do that. You're going to go buy the wax by the pound. Like, I'll have to source out a really good wax. Whether it's beeswax, whatever the cheapest wax is, and just buy it in bulk, right? And if I could do that, and you have, say, there's 168 hours in a week. Okay, times that by at least 12 weeks of harsh winter. You could have candles burning all the time and offsetting some of the heat with you wouldn't use that as a main source of heat, but just like, okay, let's say I put the thermostat at 21 degrees, but it's minus 45 outside. It's going to be cold in here no matter what. And if I crank that to 40, just to counter it, the hydro bill is going to be like $1,000, right? So anything that'll supplement, especially like in the winter months, if I could have things like this, okay, well, I have my regular lights on, but I might have one of these on too. And okay, well, I'll shut off the light, lower the power consumption, and just go by this if this is all I need. You know what I mean? But the idea is that it also lets out a little bit of heat. But it also, you have to have, remember that you do have to have fresh air. Run them maybe for an hour or so, then maybe blow them out for a bit, let the fresh air return into the room, and then start them up again. And that might help you out a bit. I know some people in smaller places, like one of those will heat a room very slow. It's like, it'll heat a room slower than a baseboard, but it's heat. You know what I mean? So it all adds up. The only thing that you have to watch out for is anything that burns, whether it's even candles. Anything that produces a flame produces humidity, strangely enough. I don't know if it's just because the flame is so hot, but with this, it's the humidity is coming from, like, if you've ever used a propane heater, for example, the propane has a lot of moisture in it. So, like, your walls will be just like, you're not supposed to use propane heaters in the house, but if you do use one in the house, and or like a propane stove in your house, you'll notice like the things are going to start to get, like, there's going to be moisture on your ceiling. Your ceiling is going to start dripping. So that's why you have to have the air going, right? But what I'm going to try is a few different methods of using that as light, as well as and like a little thing like this is not going to kick off a lot of light. Put a mirror behind it. It makes a big, or something reflective behind it makes a big difference. yeah, so there's things to do there. The fuel, I can't remember. I know it lasts a long time, but it is one of those things that like there's actually not enough fuel in this thing. There's not enough fuel in this one to actually reach the wick. I usually leave them about 3/4 full, like up to the line there. You don't want it right to the top, but yeah, about 3/4 full so that the wick stays wet all the time. If the wick gets dried out, it'll actually just burn. And then you got to go buy new wicks. The wicks stuff are kind of cheap, so anyway, I'm gonna get my ass in gear, start on the dishes. I'm gonna be like my nephew. It's like my nephew's really taken to. Okay, last past 2 weeks. Okay, I've been like getting my nephew, telling my nephew, Aiden, you want to come and help me with the dishes? And I'm like, okay, that kind of thing, right? But last night, like I kind of gave him a little bit more responsibility, teaching him how to take out the garbage and stuff like that. He didn't get he didn't get whacked with the smell he did the night before. Oh, that got him good. Oh yeah, he was gagging the whole way up the driveway. I was laughing so hard. And, like I was 10 feet back, and it hit me. I was like, oh, and he was like, when he opened it up, he had his face right there. He opened up oh, it got him so good. We were laughing about it. And then, but last night, like the way I do it, and you got to do this with kids, is even if they don't do a great job, you got to give them praise to encourage that you make sure you do it good now, and then inspect it after, whatever. The idea is more you're training them to get used to doing stuff, right, and doing stuff for themselves, but only do and taking initiative, right. So last night I let him make the judgment whether we should take out the garbage or not. So what do you think? Pull that sucker out. What do you think? And he's like, should we leave it or do you think it could go another night? He goes, no, we should take it out. I said, okay. So, then they feel important when they're making the decision, right? And then with the dishwasher, I stand there at attention and I present to you the little dishwasher cleaning thing there, and he puts it in, and we do the dishwasher and show him how to set the dishwasher and stuff. So like I'm gonna be doing stuff like that with as much as possible to instill the value of keeping the place. And so far, everybody's been doing really good up there. Like I said, my dad won't have it any other way. So my brother's happier up there right now. So again, it's only 2 weeks, but he's happy up there. He doesn't miss down here. He's like, I don't want to go down there. He goes, the mice and blah, blah, like, so you guys seen, like, and I have to apologize. Like I don't like to, air out the dirty laundry like that, but I wanted to show you guys, what happens when people get overwhelmed with stuff and all that. But when people contribute, like the house up there is pretty good. The dog, I'm gonna try to get my nephew into the idea of walking the dog. Not just him, but like, I'll go with him. And that's the thing, like I go with him, you know what I mean? At one point he's just gonna do it. Like once it gets to the point we do it. But the important thing is last night, it's like, because when you do like dishes with kids and stuff like that or whatever, don't just do the dishes. Like have a conversation while you're doing it. Like it becomes like a ritual. You know what I mean? Like it's like something that, okay, we're just having a conversation. We just happen to be doing the dishes when we're doing the conversation. Multitasking, right? So that's once you get them doing that, there's two things. Number one, they're talking. You get them giggling and laughing a bit, and it just makes the day more pleasant. Like is like, okay, great, got to do the job. But like I was telling them, like one of the jobs I had when I was younger, and I worked in, I can't remember if it was the Royal Ottawa or the General Ottawa Hospital. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the Ottawa General, like the big hospital in Ottawa. There's like 3 or 4 hospitals down there, but the big one, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the big one. And I was working in the kitchen, and you wore like a rain suit, and you walked into this like tiled room from like the walls were tiled, and there was like these sinks, like about 9-10 feet long, like one sink, and it was maybe about 3 feet deep or whatever, and you had like this high pressured hose, and you just hose down all these gigantic pots and pans and everything like that. And I said I did that for $4.50 an hour, and he was like, "Wow," I said, "Yeah, you'd have to hose it all down, and then the glasses, you put them on this big steamer thing that was so hot you couldn't touch the glasses. It would just be like on a big conveyor belt, and you just set them out on a conveyor belt, and they'd go through, and you'd have to wait for them to cool because they were up to like the water was like 180 degrees, right? So it'd scald you, but everything was clean, right? Either clean the glasses and plates, or whatever whatever was didn't come off was cooked on there. Like, I mean, it was like hard as a rock. Yeah, so yeah, that's steamed on there now. You ain't getting that off. Uh, the other thing was that when we were done, one of the things we do is like, okay, fist pump, right? So he's comes running back in the room, forgot something, fist bump, like right on. So then we did some high fives and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that the more you do stuff like that with kids and stuff like that, the more likely they are to do that when they're adults, right? And make it fun. Like, don't make it a okay, you got to do this and whatever and stuff like that. Yeah, they're gonna like they're kids, right? So just kind of dismiss that, and once they get doing it, make it fun. So my next project is to, because I had asked my brother. I said I said to walk the dog. Like, I might even set up a leash down here, bring her down here for an hour or two, just to get the dog out of the house. Like she can go outside, but she's on a leash all the time. But I'd like to take her for a walk, because I think the dog that would do a lot for the dog. If we're gonna have the dog, let's we're in the country, but she's not a country. She's a country dog, but she's the maintenance of a city dog, where you got to walk them and stuff like that. You can't let her off the leash or she'll run, right? But the problem is because she grew up on the leash, like on like a yard leash. What happens with dogs when they're on the yard leash is when you let go of the leash, they just run because oh my god, I'm free. You know what I mean? And then it takes forever to go catch them and bring them back, right? Where all the other dogs like I've ever had, like Lacey, it's like we don't even know where her collar is. Like, God rest Lacey. She was a good dog. But she'd come and go as she pleased. She'd stay in the yard, that kind of stuff, right? So with Keita, she's never going to be that kind of a dog where you can trust her to stay in the air and she's going to run, right? So if we keep the dog, I'm like, okay, well, I was talking with my brother last night to get one of those harnesses that she can't get out of. Because what happens with her collars, she backs up and then she pulls it off, right? And then she runs and then you can't catch her. So what I want to do is start training her on the leash. And, my nephew and I could, walk her to the park and back, that kind of thing. Get her used to that. Get my nephew used to that, because it'd be good exercise for my nephew too. Good exercise for, it's just a good thing to do, right? And it's good for the dog. It's really good for the dog. So it's kind of like once I'm done with the project down here, setting up, and I can relax a little bit, I can refocus on that too, and then my main goal is for to make sure that what's happened down here never happens up there. And the only way that happens is if everybody runs a tight, my dad runs a tight ship. And then if my dad, my nephew, and I are all the clean freaks, we're outnumbering at least two people. You know what I mean? And my brother's pretty good. Like he just got overwhelmed with the place down here just because of don't have the proper tools to deal with stuff. Okay, the cleaning thing that yeah, there's no excuse for that, but it is one of those things that when you get so much stuff, Like guys, when I get everything of mine in here, you're gonna be like it looks like I got a lot of clutter in here right now. Well, to me it looks like a lot of clutter, but most people there's no furniture or nothing in here. There's a table, two tables, and a couple of chairs, and this right. And to me, that like I consider this cluttered. Like if everything was all cleaned up and put away and all that, and all the plants were all dealt with and all that, maybe I inherited the attack cactus. I don't know. If I can keep him alive, I will. But he did attack me, so I'm fuck him, right? That stationary attack cactus attacked me. Yeah, do I get even or do I not? I don't know. But if I keep him, I keep him. If he makes it, he makes it. It's a big one, so I'm pretty sure they want to keep it. But if they can't, like I told my brother, whatever they can't bring up there, just leave it down here, and I'll deal with it. The one hanging from the ceiling, actually, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind keeping that one. It's just I don't want 50 plants in here because that presents other problems. Like some of the moisture problems in here was because there were so many plants in here, the aquarium, all that stuff. Like there was a lot of things letting off moisture in here. Now there's a lot less, and like I say, fresh air. Now mind you, close the place up for the winter. We'll see how aired out it actually is, but my goal is to, if you could saturate the place with stinking smells, you can also saturate the place with better smelling things. Pine Sol. The Lysol's a bit strong, but the Pine Sol's not too bad. It has at least I do like that pine smell. I've always liked the smell of Pine Sol. This one's a weird one though. It's a pink one. Like usually Pine Sol is like, like brownish, golden brown color. It smells like pine. It is like sweet pine. I don't know. It's like strawberry pine. I don't know. It's weird. It is weird. It's likable, but it's weird. It's like me. Likable, but weird. Yeah. Yeah. Other things to make note of is that once I get the floors scrubbed down once and the walls scrubbed down once the garbage is gone, the fridge is that's gonna be a nasty job. That's why I'm not sleeping down here until I get everything cleaned up. It's just like, like I'm gonna have to air that fridge out for at least a week. You know what I mean? It's probably not as bad as I think it is, but you guys saw some of the stuff coming out of there, and like the rotten vegetables and all that stuff. Like you got to stay on top of that stuff. Because that's what makes people sick, right? And it's also what spreads more mold and stuff like that. So it ain't like there'll never be anything moldy left on my shelf. I remember when I used to have an apartment back in the city by myself. People would come over and they'd be like, "Oh, you just moved in? You got no furniture?" I said, "No, I've been here for about a year now. Where's all the furniture and everything?" Well, there's a couch over there, a couple of tables, the same coffee table. Same coffee table I've had since 1994. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I like it though. It's a nice looking table. They were like $450 for that in the end table, and the couch was like $750. And it was a nice big 7-foot couch. Really, it looked really good, and then it had this nice, matching lamp, and it was kind of like kind of like Fight Club, where where Edward Norton's going through like the catalog of things that you need in your little dwelling, so it was kind of like that. But I had a limitation of what I had. Again, Mesa Boogie sitting in the room. The only time I left that room was for gigs, which was quite often. Maybe one day this thing will get Pine Sol. Clean it up. It's still got beer stains from 1995. The last time this was on stage, there was 5,000 people, guys. How am I poor? Like, that was fun. It was a fun show. We were unsigned and stuff like that. Playing our own music and stuff like that, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I forget the band we opened up for. Because I think that was a week we opened up for April Wine. There was two other bands, another band, and then April Wine, and then we were the openers for whatever. And I remember because the bass player from April Wine lived in Aylmer, and I had talked to him a few times. It was either the bass player or the drummer, whoever it was that lived in Aylmer. But anyway, talked to them a few times. They were, they made it fairly big back in the 70s, early 80s. and whatever. And they were like, "Ah, we're going on tour. We're taking the other guys." It's too bad we didn't know about you guys first. We would have taken you guys. So that would have been a cool. That would have been a cool thing. But then again, who knows, right? Who knows? But anyway, I gotta get my ass in gear, get the dishes done, get the mouse carcasses out, reset the trap. Something I noticed is like I guess the mice drop in from the ceiling from the hatch, and I'm like, holy shit, that's how long. That's like an 8 foot drop per. Like if you think about it to scale, like that's the probably the equivalent of a mouse dropping from an 8 foot ceiling is like a man falling from like a 20 foot 20th floor. You know what I mean? Like, how does he not die? Land on his head or whatever. But I think mice there, if you ever watch them drop, they just like squish out like a piece of like rubber, and then and then they zoom up and they go. I guess because they're so light, it doesn't it doesn't hurt them. But yeah, so I asked if there was any more mouse traps at the little store there. So I'm gonna have to get a pen out and make a list of. Okay, so I need wicks for the coal lamps. Gonna need mouse traps, garbage bags, 3 sizes, recycling bags, uh, poop tickets. Gonna have to start stocking up on that. There's not really. There is a lot of stuff that I already had. Like for cleaning products, I don't really like. There's like 3 things at Javix in here, and I think I got another one up home. Like, so I think I'm good that way. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. We can get out of this chair. It is Sunday, so I don't want to work too hard on a Sunday, but I get that monstrosity done, the happier I'm going to be. Then I can get to this, get all this off the floor so I can sweep. Then once I sweep it, I can sweep the ledge there, and I can start putting stuff on the ledges, and it'll look good. I still have to wash the walls, but yeah. But till then, I'll start with these clean dishes here, put those away, and then yeah, there we go. Here we go again. There we go.